Libra, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carole, and this is going to be a general reading for you for March 2026. And if you're new to my channel, I want to welcome you, and I'm so glad that you found me. Comment below and let me know that you found me and this is your first time. And if you're coming back, I also want to thank you for supporting me. And if you can, hit the subscribe button so that my videos can get out to more people, because this is a healing channel. And as some of you may know, I have been on my own intensive healing journey for about, it's going to be 9 years actually in April. And I've been healing from sexual abuse, trauma, and trafficking in my own family. So I have complex trauma. And yeah, so I've been on this healing journey, like I said, for the last 9 years intensively, and in and out of therapy all my life, trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And so as I heal, the more and more I heal, the more I discover more things about myself. My authentic self comes out, and tarot was a beautiful gift that was given to me partway through. And then recently it's been shamanic healing in the last year, where I've discovered that my spirits around me that are supporting me and always with me. And so I've been in contact with them actually, and have taken some intensive courses to learn how to become a shamanic practitioner. And so I offer distance healing. And if you're interested in that, there are a few ways you can get in touch with me. And I also do personal readings for tarot, if you're interested in that as well. So you can go to my website, carolecares.com, and that's Carole with an E. And that will get you to my tarot, and that'll get you to my shamanic healing. As well, there are links in the description box below and in the comments section, because I do offer a 15-minute free consultation with you if you're interested in a shamanic healing. And if you just want to chat about shamanism or find out, you know, if shamanic healing is right for you. And there's no pressure whatsoever. We do a 15-minute Zoom call or a phone call if you like. And after that, I don't bother you. I don't email you. I don't do, you know, I just, because I really want it to be something that you want for yourself. So there's that I offer as well. And so, but in today's reading, because that's what you're here for, we're going to be looking for a pattern. And I'm checking in this month because patterns are so important, because I mean, all of us have trauma on a continuum, right? And we're all trying to heal. And oftentimes, you know, people come to me and said, well, you know, I'm not sure what needs healing. I don't know. Like, I just don't know what's wrong with me. And so one of the best ways that we can try to really figure out, you know, what our trauma is, or where these big emotions are coming from, is to look at our patterns, because the patterns are hidden. You know, they're hidden in our body. They're hidden in the unconscious, and we don't see them. We don't recognize that they are actually there because they need healing. So I think we start to become aware of, oh, like, why do I keep doing that? Or why do I keep, you know, inviting the same type of people into my life? And so we have this theme. Everybody has their own set of patterns that show up all the time, and you know what they are. And so we're going to look at that. We're going to see, okay, what pattern needs healing? What's coming up right now for you for healing? It's showing up because it's coming from your shadow. And that's part 2. And part 2 is, you know, the things that are hidden in the unconscious, you know, those big emotions, our memories, what happened to us when we were a child or an adolescent. And so whatever happened to us, it's going to drive the patterns. It's going to keep on, you know, the universe has a way of keep on showing you these patterns that are showing up, and they're repeating and repeating and repeating. And eventually we got to look at them. We got to say, listen, like, where did this come from? Because we need to heal it. And so part 2 is going to tell me, okay, what needs healing? What's in the shadow? What's pushing this pattern? What's driving it? And then finally in part 3, we're going to look at advice from the tarot. You know, I don't offer you some magical pill here, a quick fix. It's not what I do. But what will happen is the tarot will suggest for you, okay, this is what you really need to focus in on to start to heal what's coming up for you to heal. And then I will offer you some, either a playlist or some videos from my other YouTube channel called Carole Cares. And on that channel, there are a number of videos there that will help you out with a lot of your emotions, with journaling, with grounding. And so I'll recommend for you what I think you really would be really, you know, advantageous for you to look at and really will help you out a lot. So let's begin. What pattern in your life is showing up for healing right now, Libra? One card, and I am using the Ehrenberg Tarot, and I'm going to clarify it with the Tarot of A.E. Wait, sorry. Four of Swords is coming up for you. Okay, so what aspect from your shadow is coming up for healing? And it's going to be what's driving this pattern. We'll have one card for that as well. Now the Ehrenberg Tarot is, I love this deck. It's probably one of my favorites. And it takes a snapshot of the Rider-Waite deck. So you'll see that there's little snapshots of Rider-Waite deck. This is the Eight of Pentacles for what's sitting in your shadow that needs healing. And what advice does the tarot have for you to begin to heal this pattern? There we go. The Ten of Pentacles in reverse. I can't tell you how many. I think this is probably I've done, I don't know, 6 readings. This is probably the 4th time Ten of Pentacles has shown up. I love when that happens, because that tells me that's kind of like almost like a theme card. It's a theme that's running through all the readings. And that's when I know that, you know, when I read, it's a real thing, because you just can't make this shit up. You know, when you've got the same card that's showing up, you know, and I shuffle them on right before I come on. I mix all the cards up. That's how I shuffle my cards, because I don't like to ruin them. So let's have Four of Swords, couple cards for that. I used to shuffle them, but like I said, I don't like ruining my cards, so they bend. One more card for the Four of Swords. One more card here. Oh, one turned over. Okay, so you have the Two of Cups and the King of Cups in reverse under your Four of Swords. Tell me some more about the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles, couple cards for that. One more card. Okay. You have the Knight of Pentacles and the Five of Swords. Knight of Pentacles in reverse and the Five of Swords. That's underneath your Eight of Pentacles. And finally, the Ten of Pentacles. Couple cards for that. One more. Okay, so You have the Six of Wands, the Four of Wands in reverse, and the Page of Cups in reverse under your Ten of Pentacles. That's the advice from the tarot. So let's begin with talking about your pattern that showing up for you. You have the Four of Swords. Now, see this individual, it's almost like they're, you know, they have their hand, it looks like they have their hand, I was going to say on the heart, but it's on the wrong, it could be. Their hand sitting there on their chest, and they're just really, you know, resting. They're really resting, and this card is about resting, the Four of Swords. It's a card of taking time out for yourself, carving time out for yourself and doing some healing. And so this is the pattern that's coming up for you right now. So we're going to see what happens here. So this is an individual that's taking time out for themselves, realizing they're doing some realizing that they need to do some healing, wanting to do the healing. And then you have the Two of Cups and the King of Cups that comes up. So, you know, it's interesting that you have both cup cards, and cups are about our emotions. And when we decide to take time out for yourself and ground yourself and really try to listen to what your body is trying to tell you, not your mind, because your mind is your ego self. But what's happening to you is when you take time out and when you try to ground and when you're quiet and you're trying to get in touch with, well, what's going on here? What are these emotions? What do I need to know? Because you had this one first, this two of Cups here. This next card that comes up right away is that is a card of a real intimate relationship, and it's the number 2 of Cups. So, you know, the pip cards go from Ace to 10. So it's just the beginning of a real intimate relationship. And it's not between two people here. It's a relationship with yourself. And so this is really a real intimate relationship with yourself that I think you're trying to, you're beginning to access. You know, who am I? What am I all about? And I think you're putting a real, a genuine attempt to, you know, I want to get to know who I am. And so you're doing this. You're taking time out for yourself. You're trying to listen, and maybe you've taken time out to ground yourself and try to really get into your body and try to figure out what's going on. But I think what's happening is you're spinning. You can't stop the noise in your head, and that's so common, right? When we try to ground ourselves, when we try to really take time out and just start to, you know, really try to feel and maybe heal some of these things that are coming up for us, well, you've got this spinning going on in your head. And, you know, you're hearing these messages come through, and it's really distracting, and you can't figure, well, how do I stop that noise in my head? And it's constant. You know, you're hearing this, especially when you get quiet with yourself. You get this noise in your head. It's like, what is this? Well, the King of Cups comes in and explains everything, because the King in my deck represents the masculine side to us. There's a feminine side, and do I see any feminine side here coming up? No, but the masculine is this one right here. So we all have a masculine side and a feminine side, and it has nothing to do with gender. These are the two parts of us that we try to bring into balance, and that's the whole point of the hero's journey, or the fool's journey in the tarot, is to bring those two parts into balance, the masculine and the feminine part of us. And so this King is the ego self. That's the masculine side of you, and that's the part of us that lives in the mind. And he's carrying this cup. But our ego self is petrified. absolutely petrified of emotions. Because when you were younger, you know, a lot of us, most of us, tried to show our emotions and we're really shut down. And so this ego self keeps us all up in our head, in our mind, so that we don't have to feel our emotions. It'll come out in times when we're trying to ground, when we're trying to heal, when we're trying to feel these emotions, because it's going to come in and go block. And that's what causes a lot of times our anxiety or this fear in our system, because maybe we were told when we were younger, for example, if it's anger that wants to come out, and we were told when we were younger, don't you dare take out that anger. You're not allowed to get angry. And so we fear this emotion, and the ego self fears it because it still thinks that you're in childhood, because it's a real protector part. And so it protected us when we were really, really young. And when we tempted to feel these big emotions, it would come in and pull us out of our body and in our head, because we don't feel our emotions in our head. We feel them in our body. So when you're trying to get into your body and feel these emotions, this part's coming in going, no, don't you dare go there. Like it sees emotions as death, you know? And so that's what's happening here is you have a very strong ego that's coming out and does not want you to get into your body, does not want you to get in touch with your emotions. It fears it for you because, again, it thinks you're still a child. And so what happened to you when you were younger? Let's look at what's going on here. I don't know yet. I have to look at it. But there's something here that happened for you when you were younger that, you know, maybe we'll just look at it. So you have the Eight of Pentacles right here. And the Eight of Pentacles speaks about, you know, for me, it's the card of passion. It's the card of wanting to do something, a card of wanting to, just having that passion in life, to be able to be you, to be able to do what you want to do, to be able to express your emotions, right? Or maybe even just to have passion in life, about life and what it brings you. But it's sitting here in your shadow, which means your passion is buried. Your passion is buried. That's what I'm hearing. I'm going to put that down here. I'm not sure if I'm going to name it this, but it's like your passion is buried. Okay, so let's look at why. Why is your passion buried? Well, you have the Knight of Pentacles right underneath it. And the Knights in my deck are called my freedom fighters. And this has been another theme coming out here. Because, well, that's interesting. I'm off track for a minute because I wanted to see, point out any major arcana cards, because that's what I've been doing for all the readings I've been doing. But Libra, you don't have any major arcana cards in this reading. And so I'm going to say that, you know, there's almost like, it's interesting because you have this Knight, and this Knight has been showing up, and so has this Ten of Pentacles. So I'm going to focus. I've been picking out the major arcana cards because those are kind of giving me a theme of what to go by. Those are big universal forces here. But you've got these two, the Knight of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles, which is very, very important. And also you have the Eight of Pentacles. So I'm going to say that your reading, I'm going to go with, if I can't go with the major arcana, I'm going to go with what suit is very important here. And I'm going to say the Wands and first of all, the Pentacles and then the Wands. So the Pentacles, because what's coming up in your shadow are two Pentacles, your passion, the Eight of Pentacles, and then the Knight of Pentacles is coming out here. And so the Knights in my deck, like I was saying, are what I call my freedom fighters. And they're that part of you that wanted the freedom to be your authentic self, wanted the freedom to express your emotions, right? Such as passion. And so, you know, that's buried. that freedom in here, that being able to express your emotions, being able to express your passion, and having the freedom to do it anytime you wanted to is buried. And so when there's a night that shows up, it tells me that there's a lot of anger sitting here. And maybe you are somebody that holds a lot of ungrounded anger where you weren't allowed, and I did mention that at the beginning, where you weren't allowed to express, you tried to express your anger when you were younger, and you were told, put that anger away. You're not allowed to express your anger, right? Because anger is a very transforming emotion. It brings about change. It gives you back your power. It's such a beautiful, if people only knew how strong of an emotion it is. But unfortunately, it's an emotion that comes out too often in a very ungrounded way. And that's why we can tend to hurt other people when we don't want to. It comes out at the wrong time, the wrong people. I know, because I had ungrounded anger, and that's how my anger used to come out. But I've learned how to journal from my anger and express it. And so I've learned how to ground my anger. And actually it took me a long time before I could do that, because I was not allowed to take my anger out. And that's how a lot of times people can have control over us, by putting the fear in us around our anger, because it's a very powerful emotion. And so you have this part that, is very angry because you weren't allowed to express your emotions, like anger, like your passion. It was taken away from you. I see you, Libra, as somebody as a very passionate person, passionate about life, but it's almost like it's in there. It's just wanting to come out. But you've learned to just kind of, keep it down, put it away. 5 of Swords comes out next. And I call this my bullying card, right? You look at the individual in the back here. So this individual in the back's just hiding his face, right? Hiding his face because this guy at the front, look at the look on his face, right? Look at the jagged clouds there, as if there's really something sketchy going on here. So it's like, I call this my bullying card because, this card's all about shame. It's all about unworthiness, because shame, the emotion shame, is not the emotion that we're born with. It's given to us. People shame us. And when we're not allowed to show our anger, when we're not allowed to show our passion, so many kids are full of passion and so full of energy and so full of life. And I think we're just, we kind of, as adults, and I raised 3 kids myself, but you tend to squash that when they're younger, because maybe it was squashed in you, right? And so you see that in them, and that's what you do. You tend to go, whoa, you're too big for your britches, right? I'm hearing that really old saying. And I'm saying that because, you've got this passion here. So it's like people, when you were a kid, maybe you were one that was full of passion, full of ideas, and it's like, whoa, no, slow down. You're just too much here. And so that would have made you feel really, really unworthy, right? Lots of shame in there. So this whole section right here is full of emotions. You've got this anger that you're not allowed to use. You've got this shame right here, which is a big, huge emotion that's we have to heal from as well, that you're feeling because you weren't allowed to show that. You've got this Knight of Pentacles that's just wanting to get out there and wanting to, be able to love and be able to feel, and wanted to express themselves but couldn't. And right now the pattern is, and we said that when you slow down and when you try to feel this, you go right up in your head and you hear, and all these things are coming out like, who do you think you are? You can't do that. Why are you doing that? You're not worth it. You're not. And all these things you're hearing spinning in your head, because that's your ego self coming out. Because when you were younger, You weren't allowed to feel all that stuff. And so do you see how it's repeating? This pattern keeps repeating because it's wanting you to get back to, look what happened to you when you were younger. You weren't allowed to feel. And so what do you do now? How do you start to feel? How do you stop this spinning in your head? And so what advice does the tarot have for you to begin to heal this pattern where you keep spinning in your head? Well, the Ten of Pentacles comes up here. And the Ten of Pentacles is my card of, because this is a healing journey we're talking about, it's my card of the trauma that was handed down to you. What was handed down to you from people that took care of you? This is a generational trauma card, and it's in reverse because I think there's a lot of maybe denial or resistance on your part to look at it, right? What this shame right here, like I said, it's not something we're born with. It's something that was given to us. So why do you have all this shame, you know, that behind us? What sort of things were you told when you were younger? Because there's a lot here that you need to look at, and that's what the universe is, the tarot was saying. Universe is saying, you know, let's take a look at this. What was handed down to you that would have been something that was, you know, handed down from generation to generation? Now, the first card that comes out is the Six of Wands. And the sixes in my deck have this duality to them. You can almost say that on, you know, when you look at the card, it looks like a victorious card. It's victory, right? They're coming back from battle. They have a victory wreath on his head. He's got one on the top of his wand. It's like, whoa, this is a beautiful card of victory. Tarot readers will read it like victory. But because I read my sixes with a duality, there's something hidden here. So what is it? You've got this, you're trying to get to this, you know, this trauma, this generational trauma here. And we're looking at, you know, in particular, I'm looking at shame. Shame seems to be coming out here. Shame's what, you know, is the one that's dumped on us off. It's not, we're not born with it. And so what's underneath this green blanket? You know, what's on the other side of victory? Well, the other side of victory is always a loss. There's a loss here, right? When these people come back from the battle, it's like, okay, there's a lot of winning that's going on, but there's also something that's lost. And so when this card comes up, this is my card of grief. You have, you know, an extremely powerful reading. It has no, what was the word? I'm blanking out here. So it has no major arcana cards in it. Sometimes that happens and you just go, ooh. You have no major arcana cards here. And it's like, no, because we're not focusing on that. We're focusing on the other cards. The minor arcana cards are like, they're about like the day-to-day struggle that you're going through. And the day-to-day struggle that you're going through is emotions. You have, this whole reading is about emotions. And I did put your passion is buried. Yes. And you have so much loss. And when we want to get to the loss, we have to grieve. And I'm going to say to you before I get to these next two cards, grief is the most difficult emotion to get to. So is anger. It's, you can either go, if you are, when you are, anybody that's really healing, they'll have either issue, they usually have an issue with either the grief or the anger. I was somebody that could get to my grief, but I could never get to my anger. I know another person that can easily get angry, no problem, in a grounded way, but can't get to the grief. And so it sounds to me that, you know, you've got this anger. Maybe you can't get to your anger, but you can certainly get to your grief, right? And so, and then the last two cards that are coming here, because there's some real grieving that needs to take place. I think for a long time, this Four of Wands is coming here in reverse. This is a card of freedom of these people, and this is another victory card here. It's coming up like the Six of Wands, but this is a four. This is like these people that are coming through, coming out of this walled like fortress city thing behind them where they're celebrating because they finally come through here. But you know, this, you have been, it's almost like you've been living with this wall in front of you, these Four of Wands right here. There's these strong pillars, right? And they've, you know, wands aren't meant to be put into place. Wands want to go. They've got those little budding branches on them. Wands are fiery energy. They want to go. And here you've taken them and they're planted right now, right? And we talked about how you're wanting this freedom. You want to go. You want to burst out of who you are. But you've got so much emotions and conflict in your mind. But this particular card says, I think you've been almost in a place where you've been so trying to, like, so controlled with these emotions, have been so controlled in you because they were when you were younger. And this is in reverse here, because definitely there's a real, I can see how there's a real fear to go towards the fear, maybe the grief as well. But then you've got this one last card that is so important. And it, you know, honestly, if I had to pick one card on this table right now, would be this little guy in the end. And he's the one you have to pay attention to. That he's a page. And our pages need healing. They are our inner children. So this little page is the Page of Cups. He's the page of our emotions. He carries that cup right here, right? He's in reverse because he needs healing. He needs you to listen to him. Need you to pay attention and to feel. When we're younger and we have these, we carry these big emotions and we carry these big memories. We have our inner children that carry them for us because when we're younger, we're too young to feel these big emotions. So this little page, this inner child of yours, has been carrying these emotions all your life. And this page is probably the one, the page that you want to get to know. Out of all the pages in the deck, out of all your inner children, this is the one you want to get to know because it has the cup backing it up. It has the cup of love. It's very strong. And so there's a part of you that very much needs healing. And it's that part of you that desperately seeks love. You didn't get that when you were younger. You didn't get the love that you needed. You weren't supported. Your emotions weren't supported. And maybe you were a real emotional child, but you were just suppressed. All those emotions were suppressed in you. And so this little guy is trying to get the love that it never got from anyone else. And so maybe you're someone that maybe invites toxic people into your life all the time and you can't understand why. But this little guy needs healing. You know, he's sitting here and he needs real healing here. And so this whole reading has been about emotions. It's been a powerful reading for you to, it's time for you now to start to feel. You know, the Ten of Cups says we have this big rainbow of emotions. I'm surprised that didn't come out. We have this big rainbow of emotions that we're all meant to feel when we're younger. And a lot of us don't get to feel them because we're not allowed to. We were told not to take them out. Put those away when we try to express them. And so I think there's a lot of support that's needed for you right now around emotions. And the way that I do it is to, I think, you know, I'm going to leave you with a video. It's actually a playlist on journaling. I get all my emotions out in journaling. I've learned how to journal from my emotions. And in particular, I think it's very important that you focus on journaling from your anger and things like your shame, you know, how you're feeling about yourself, and just write it. And there are a few videos in there about journaling. I give you, and they will help you to journal, learn how to journal from your emotions. It's very important in this healing journey. And so, Libra, I want you to have compassion for yourself for what you're working through. It's a very difficult journey, this healing journey, but it's the most important one in your life. So take care. Bye-bye.